Oh, hello, YouTube. Hey, Instagram. Happy Take Care of Yourself Tuesday. Listen, let me come on here real fast and share what the Lord dropped in my spirit on last night, honey. Y'all probably like, Coach T, you early this week. Well, y'all know sometimes I come on Tuesdays and share some stuff with y'all. But this was like something I'm like, let me just pop up. Let me just pop up and just say hello to the people. So hello. See how the enemy worked? And I'm on here coughing. I wasn't coughing this whole time prior. Now I'm on here coughing. Happy Take Care of Yourself Tuesday. Listen, my name is Coach T. For some of you who may be new to my platform, I am a mental health wife coach and marriage consultant. I coach wives who are, I coach Christian wives who are in roles of leadership, wives who have biblical reasons to walk away from their marriages, but out of obedience to God, they made a decision to stay. And so I help those wives to navigate through their unhealthy marriages in the most healthiest way. And so usually on Tuesday, Take Care of Yourself Tuesday, I try to jump in and share something to give you some type of encouragement, motivation, and just to remind you to take care of yourself. But last night, and y'all know I try to spend some time with the Lord. And during my time last night, this title dropped in my spirit. This title dropped in my spirit. And I heard the Lord say just as plain and clear as day. Don't drop the rope. Tanika, do not drop the rope. Look, I don't know about y'all. I don't know what y'all got going on in y'all life, but baby, it has been some stuff coming up. It has been some things happening that make me be like, listen, because we can go back. We can turn this thing around and go back. And I heard God so strong. With that. Don't drop the rope. So y'all know most of the time I come on here and I want to speak directly to my wives and just try to encourage you. So y'all know back in the day when we was probably, in our younger days or whatever, one of my favorite PE activities, and I didn't have many, okay? I did not have many. But one of my favorite PE activities was tug of war. Like if I didn't participate in any other PE activity, that was one of my favorites to participate in. And I'm not really like a competitive type of person or whatever, but for some reason, when it was time for us to play that game, baby, I had got my arms ready. I was like in position. I was like, let's go. And for some reason, I never wanted to lose. I wanted to always make sure I was on a winning team. And so if that meant I had to get up and, get in position and pull or what have you, I wanted to make sure I did just that. And when I was coming home today from work, that was what, came in my spirit. I was like, tug of war? I'm like, what does tug of war, Lord, have to do with all this kind of stuff? And he said, think about the rope that is held and the two teams pulling from side to side. And what, I had a picture of, opposition, one team pulling the one side and the other team pulling the other side. And I'm like, isn't that so much like life and how, things are, in this time and day, where it really seems like we are in a tug of war, where it's like, baby, one of us gonna drop this rope, okay? It's gonna either be you or it's gonna be me. But one of us gonna drop this rope. Somebody is gonna fall down, right? And God brought that to my attention today. He brought that to my attention today. And it was like, from last night, it came back to me, don't drop the rope. Whatever you do, don't drop the rope. Listen, y'all, we are in our resurrection season, all right? For some of you, who may celebrate the season of Lent, we are coming up to, that time of the year. And if y'all know, as Christians, that can be a very, very time of hardship, headache, different things, different type of oppositions that, come your way. And one of the things I always tell my wife clients is something about resurrection season. It always, resonate with me. Y'all know I shared my story years ago when the Lord resurrected my husband, right? He resurrected my husband. And so one of the things that I always am reminded of is God is the resurrector. And so he can bring dead things back to life, right? He can bring dead things back to life. And so as we are coming upon that season, I just want to come on to encourage you, don't drop the rope. Don't drop the rope. There are a lot of anti-forces and spiritual activities that's taking place. And listen, the goal of these things is to deter you, to frustrate you, to stop you from getting to where God wants you to get next. The goal of these things is to try to stop you from getting to that next mark. I've shared on here before that I have experienced, and maybe some of you know about it or not, what they call sleep paralysis. And one of the things I have learned as a Christian, when you have things like that, happening, different type of spiritual activities is taking place, and it usually means that something is getting ready to come, and the enemy is trying to discourage you from getting to. It usually is an indicator of something getting ready to happen. God is getting ready to do something in your life. You are in a season or a place of transition, and something is getting ready to happen. And usually the enemy is trying to stop you from getting to that place, right? And so one of the things when wives experience this, and they tell me about these types of things, I try to explain to them, like, don't let that discourage you. Don't let that stop you. The enemy does that as a way to to threaten you, to paralyze you, to keep you in a standing place. But don't let that stop you. Usually that means God is up to something, and he's trying to get you to that place, but the enemy is definitely working overtime to stop you from getting to that place. And so as we are coming upon this season, as we get ready for Resurrection Sunday, I think Easter this year is April. It's late this year. It's April 20th. But as we go through these weeks, don't be surprised. Don't be thrown off if you start to see some strange activities and some strange things happening. Listen, the enemy is working overtime, because this is the time of the year. This is the time of the season when God bring dead things back to life. Come on, Jesus. This is the time of the year, and this is the time of season when God bring dead things back to life. And this is the time when the enemy is working overtime. He's working overtimes to deter, to take Christians off focus, to frustrate you, to discourage you, to deplete you. Oh my God, he's trying to deplete you. He wants you to be depleted. But you have to remember that greater is he that lives on the inside of you than he that's in the world, right? Greater is working on the inside of you. And so do not allow the enemy to frustrate you in this hour. God said, do not drop the rope. Do not drop the rope. When you think about a rope, it's like, what does that mean? A rope signifies perseverance, deliverance, strength, power, stamina, trust. Come on, Jesus. The biblical meaning of rope in the Old Testament, the word for trust and faith was a Hebrew word that meant a rope. In other words, trust was like a rope. It expressed what a rope did for you. It provided security, tied you to another person in safety, and something you could depend on, something that you can depend on at times. When I first started coaching and helping, individuals in a marriage, God brought to my attention that my name meant rope. My name meant rope. And I was like, what? And I remember asking God, like, why would you, want me to, help marriages, and why, you chose me for this specific, assignment specifically. Like, I always tell, wives, I don't, teach just regular, coach just regular people that's, doing marriage as usual. My assignment has been very, very, very difficult. God has given me the hard stuff. So I usually deal with the ones who are dealing with the adultery, who is dealing with the addiction, who's dealing with the abandonment, who's dealing with, the husband with the mental and emotional issues, behavioral disorders. I'm dealing with the one that has spiritual things happening in their marriage, and they're trying to figure that stuff out. And I was like, Lord, choose somebody else. Why would you pick me for this, right? And one of the things he told me was, Tanika, your name means rope. Your name means rope. And I am using you as a rope to bring husbands and wives back together. I'm using you as a rope to bring husbands and wives back together. Going back to what I said earlier about the tug of war, You got one side, you over here, and you got the, you got the wife, you got the wife over here, you got the husband over here acting like how he acting like a fool, and you got the wife over here standing on God. But it's like, whoever, this is your mark, right? this is your mark. Whoever is pulling on that thing the hardest, that's once it cross over that line, baby, that's who win. And so God is saying, don't drop the rope in this hour. Come on, Jesus. Don't drop the rope in this season. Ecclesiastes 4:12 remind us, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. As I have that picture in my head of the husband over here in the world, and the husband over here doing, what he want to do, and the husband, with the other woman, and living a, the outside life, and doing all kind of strange things. And you got the wife over here who's trying to trust God, who's, putting her faith in the Lord, who's, seeking God out concerning her marriage, who's seeking God out and trying to be obedient to what he's asking, her to do, even though she has biblical reasons to walk away, even though she has biblical reasons to exit out of that marriage. But because she's trying to be obedient to God, she's holding on to the rope over here, and the husband over here, he got the rope, but it's like, man, whatever. So he's pulling, on this side, and she's pulling on this side. And God is saying, wife, do not drop the rope. Do not drop the rope. It doesn't matter what it looks like, what it seems like, what it feels like. I'm here to tell you right now, we are in a resurrection season, and God is bringing dead things back to life. And I don't want you to be discouraged. I don't want you to be discouraged when you start to see strange and funny activities start to happen. You got to make sure that you are using discernment in this hour. You got to make sure that you are applying wisdom. You got to be smarter than the enemy in this hour. Come on, the Bible reminds us that we have to know what his schemes and his tactics are. You got to be wise in this season. And this is one of the things why I always encourage wives, if you are not connected to somebody on this journey and you're supposed to be doing this, get connected with the right source. Get connected with the right person. God is saying, do not drop the rope. You have come too far. You are too close. You are right exactly where you need to be. A lot of times I heard this message from one of the ladies who came and spoke at one of my events, and she said sometimes when you start having those feelings of discouragement, you start feeling uncomfortable, or you start experience like these different things happening, these different flutters start happening on the inside of you. A lot of times people assume that, oh, this is something bad, or something bad is getting ready to happen, something bad is getting ready to occur. But sometimes those flutters and those moments and those those discomfort and those uncomfortable things are indicators that something is getting ready to change. Something's getting ready to happen. God is getting ready to move you to the next place. It's not always a red flag. It's not always a negative. It's not always a bad thing, but it's an indicator that God is getting ready to do something different in your life. One of the things I always come in here and tell y'all, and I tell my wives, don't miss your shift. Don't miss your shift. Y'all know this time done changed. We done moved forward, right? We done lost an hour. And God is moving forward in this season. We are in our moving forward season. Don't miss your shift. Don't miss what God is doing. Don't drop the rope. Doesn't matter how hard it gets, how heavy it gets, what it seemed like, what it looked like, what you feeling, those feelings that you're feeling. Make sure that you are connected with someone who can help you on this journey. Make sure that you are connected with someone who can say, girl, this is what this is. Keep going. Girl, you're going to be all right. Keep going. Girl, keep showing up. Girl, whatever you got to do, go take you a break, go take you a nap, go get you some food, whatever it is you need to do, and get back out there on your place you're supposed to be at, because God is doing something and you don't want to miss what he is doing. God is moving in this season. God is moving in this hour. This is the resurrection season. I want to emphasize that, right? I want to emphasize it because we know when October come and all that kind of, things that they do during that season and to highlight, evil stuff, right? But as a believer, as a Christian, as a woman of God, I want to come on here and remind you, we are walking in our resurrection season. And Jesus say, I am the way. Come on. I am the way. I'm the one who bring dead things back to life. So I want to encourage you and remind you, whatever you're going through right now, however heavy it may seem, whatever type of paralysis the enemy try to come and throw at you in the middle of the night. And this is why it's so important if you are getting up in the middle of the night, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and the Lord is bringing those things to you, you getting up in the night, make sure that you are praying. If you know how to pray in the spirit, even if one of the things I have this lady at my church, she tells me all the time, even if it's nothing but for 15 minutes, pray in the spirit for 15 minutes, set your timer on 15 minutes and lay in your bed and pray for 15 minutes, right? Even if it's like, let me just turn on some praise and worship, or let me just turn on a message or a sermon that I can listen to, whatever it is, get in a place, in a space where you can hear from God. Come on now, get in a place and space where you can, so you can know that God is telling you to do A, B, or C, right? Don't drop the rope. Don't drop the rope. The enemy is counting. He's banking on you dropping the rope. He's banking on you to give up. Going back to that tug of war. You got your your opponent on this side and you on this side. It's like, who is going to win this game? Who is going to win this game? Are you going to pull it and get them on this side, or are they going to pull it and get you on this side? The enemy is looking for you to drop the rope. I want to encourage you in this hour and in this season. Don't drop the rope. Get connected to somebody who can help you on this journey. If you are in a place where you saying, listen, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. My husband is acting all kinds of crazy. My husband's doing all kinds of crazy things. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm trying to talk to him. He don't want to talk. He got an attitude. He's being mean to me. He's being these things. He's being that things. Listen, you need to talk to somebody who understands what you're going through. Deception is real, y'all. Deception is real. And a lot of things that's taking place with husbands are these days it's a demonic spirit, and it's a blindness that's coming over them. It's a demonic blindness that they're encountering. A lot of times they don't even know that they are interacting with these marital anti-forces. They don't even know that they're coming in contact with these things, and they are being led astray. They are being led astray. But you got to use wisdom. You got to know how to apply wisdom in this season. You got to know how to say, somebody's saying right. They start talking all crazy and sideways. You got to be able to recognize who you been talking to, who's been in your ear, who's giving you counsel, who's saying these things. And even if you're not saying these things directly to your husband's not in the home with you, you got to be able to recognize when the enemy is doing some things. And so many wives that I talk to on a regular basis, they are so naive of the spiritual world. They are so naive of what's taking place on the spiritual side. They're so caught and laser focused on the natural. Oh, he over there with the other woman. Oh, this is happening. Oh, I seen him on Instagram. I seen him on Facebook. I seen him doing this, and he's taking care of this household, and he's doing this. And you're so caught up in the natural that you're missing it. You're missing it in the spirit. You're so caught up in the natural that you're missing it. And God is saying you got to get in tune this time. You got to get in tune in this season. You got to pay attention to what's really taking place. You got to figure out what's going on behind that person. Yes, that person that you're dealing with face to face, and that person is there with you, but what is the spirit behind that person? Where is this conversation coming from? Why are you talking like that? Why are you behaving like this? Why are you showing up like this, right? You got to be able to recognize those types of things. And a lot of times whites are unaware of these things. They're unaware of these things. They say with their mouth that they're believers. They say with their mouth that I'm a Christian and I go to church and I fast and I read the Bible. But when it comes down to spiritual things and spiritual activities, they are unaware. They are unaware of what's going on. So I want to encourage you. Get connected with the right source, right? Get connected with the right source. God said, don't drop the rope. Don't drop the rope. It's a war taking place, y'all. It is a war taking place around us. And you got to make sure that you are holding on tight to what is right. You got to make sure that you are holding on tight to what God is saying. You got to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Come on, Jesus. You got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself in this season. So even when the enemy tries to come and defeat you and you feel depleted, you got to make sure that you are resting. You got to make sure that you're eating good. You got to make sure that you are taking time out for yourself. You got to make sure that you are prioritizing yourself, right? Because a lot of times the enemy even use your physical health to weigh you down. He will use your mental health to weigh you down. He will use your emotional health to weigh you down. You got to make sure he will use your spiritual health to weigh you down, because if you're too tired to read your Bible, or I'll do another day, or I don't feel like fasting today, or I don't feel like reading this, reading today, or I'll do that another time. You got to make sure that you stay disciplined in this season. Come on, Jesus. You got to make sure that you stay disciplined. The enemy knows a lot of Christians are lazy. I hate saying that, but it's true. He knows that a lot of Christians are lazy and they're not willing to do what's required to see the results. They're not willing to do what's required. So because of that, he is coming in like a bonfire and he is taking hold of things. He's shutting things down, and people are trying to figure out, well, what's going on? Where does it come from? But if you are in that secret place with the Lord, come on, Jesus. If you get in that secret place with him and you are spending that time with him, even if the bonfire take place, you will still be safe. Come on, Jesus. Even if things start to alarm and the things start to go off, you will be okay because you have found your refuge with the Lord. You have went to that secret place with him. You are covered and protected in him, right? You got to make sure that you're staying disciplined. You got to make sure that you're still doing your devotions. You got to make sure that you're still fasting. You got to still make sure that you are covering yourself, anointing yourself, making sure that you are safeguarding your home. There are certain things that you have a responsibility to do, not just as a wife, but as a Christian, as a believer. And so many people are they're not doing these things. It's like, oh, I do it another day. Oh, I do it. I do it this day. Oh, I wait till Sunday. Or oh, I wait till this day. And it's like, Sunday, spiritual activities taking place every single day. The enemy is constantly on the job doing things. You got to make sure that you are doing your part as well, right? You have to make sure that you're doing your part as well. And so one of the things I do as a wife coach is try to help wives to get themselves realigned back with what it is that God is asking her to do concerning her marriage, concerning her life, concerning her situation in that time, in that season. There's a strategy for every season. There's a plan for a new season. There's different things that God is calling you to and telling you to do. And so many wives are saying, I know, I'm doing this, I do this. And they're so far away from where God is trying to take them. They are so far away from where God is trying to take them. So I want to encourage you, get connected with the right source. Get connected with the right person. Let somebody help you on this journey as you navigate through this. We are in our resurrection season. God is bringing dead things back to life. Get in the right place so you can get what it is that God wants you to get in this season. Don't drop the rope. By all costs, don't drop the rope. Do not let the enemy play in your face. Come on, Jesus. Do not let the enemy discourage you. Do not let the enemy deplete you. Do not let the enemy throw you off focus. Don't drop the rope. Hold on with a tight, firm grip and get it what it is that God's wanting you to get in this season, in this hour. All right. So I want to encourage you to sign up today for your consultation. You can start doing your wife coaching and getting that support that you need. Or if you're saying, I'm ready to do my work, you can sign up for my wife curriculum, her buoyancy boost. Did you know? Come on, Jesus. Let me just throw this out there. I heard a man of God say this the other day. Did you know that your pain is your curriculum? Your pain is your curriculum. I said, man, he telling the truth. That's exactly how I put my wife curriculum together. I put it together based off what I went through in my marriage. I put it together based off of the things that I went through in my marriage. Your pain, why nothing that you're going through is just happening, right? It's just not, oh, it just happened. No, God is strategic, right? God is strategic. It's the enemy who be looking for different ways to strategize and try to, turn things up. But God knows exactly what he's doing. He already know the plan. He already know the end of this story. He already know how this thing is going to turn out and what it's going to be like. God is strategic. Get the help that you need. Start doing your work so you can start moving forward. One of the things I see all the time, even with working with wives, is that they will start and then it was like, oh, okay, there it goes. One of the things I say I see a lot of times is when wives will start doing the work. They'll start doing the work. Then they pull away from it. They'll pull away from it, whether it's money, whether they feel like, I figured it out now. I got it. Okay, I know what I got to do. And it's like so many blind spots happen when you're doing this on your own. I'm not sitting here saying that God cannot help you in order your steps. Yes, he is. But God also placed people on your path to help you. God is saying some of these things you don't have to go through on your own. Some of these things you don't have to do because somebody else already have went through it and they can give you a strategy. They can give you an action plan on what you need to do. Come on, Jesus. And so many go backwards. So many are going backwards because they're trying to do this on their own. It was just me and God. It's just me and God. It's just me and God. And God's like, yeah, it is me and you, but I'm trying to give you the cheat sheet. I'm trying to give you the cheat codes and you're not paying attention. And so I always just want to encourage wives, make sure that you are getting what you need. Don't drop the rope. Don't mess around and drop the rope because you're being cheap. Come on. Don't mess around and drop the rope because you're being lazy. Don't mess around and drop the rope because you're being prideful, right? Don't drop the rope because you're being self-righteous. I hear that so much, right? I get that so much with wives. I was guilty of that, right? So I understand. Don't drop the rope because you think you got all the answers and you done figured it all out. Don't drop the rope because, child, I ain't worried about him. He can do whatever. While you sitting there saying, child, you ain't worried about him. He can do whatever. The enemy is wreaking havoc in your home. The enemy is doing all kinds of things. Because one of the things wives have to also understand, especially if you are connected to this man and you have children with him, what you don't deal with, your children will have to deal with. Let me say that part again. What you don't deal with, your children will have to deal with. And your children are sanctified because of you, wife. Your children are sanctified because of you. And so if you're not dealing with these things and you say, you know what, that ain't my problem, that ain't my issues, I'm gonna just raise my child and raise my babies and this and that, and we're gonna just go this way, I ain't worrying about him. Your children got to still deal with that because they are connected to him. That's part of his bloodline. And so it's not just enough to say, I'm not going to deal with him no more. I'm not going to fight for my marriage no more. Fine, don't fight for your marriage, but fight for your children, right? Do your part when it comes down to your children, because they will have to pay for their father's sins because their mother, who was a Christian, who was walking with the Lord, who had a relationship with the Lord, was not doing her part. Y'all want me to start today? I ain't going there today. All I'm saying is don't drop the rope. We are in a resurrection season. God is bringing dead things to life. Get connected with the right source. Get connected with somebody who can help you on this journey. You can sign up today at www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. Listen, y'all go ahead and take care of yourself for the rest of this day, and I will see y'all on the other side, all right? Blessings.